Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And today I was originally going to just watch the first Child's Play film, but then at the last second I remembered that both Child's Play 1 and 2 came out technically on the same day, just 2 years apart. So I decided to rewatch both. And honestly, I really don't know what else I can say that like no one else has said. I mean, the movies are fantastic. They're a great two-parter, like similar to like how you'd watch like the first two Halloween films back to back. Like, um, the cast was great. Brad Dourif, like, really gave it his all as Chucky. Like, not only giving him his one-liners, doing the Damballa chant, like, Ade Due Damballa, give me the power I beg of you. And, like, I think this was the movie where he actually, like, truly became terrifying to people, like, especially during that school scene where he's about to beat the teacher to death. And, like, you can see, like, his facial expressions. Like, that was just really freaky. But so Brad Dourif does great as the voice of Chucky, as always. Alex Vincent, honestly, like, this kind of feels like both a good thing for Child's Play 2 and 1, but, like, bad for the Chucky series since season 2 is still ongoing right now. In fact, like, a new episode's coming out tonight. But I honestly believe that that Alex Vincent's acting peaked during during the first two Child's Play movies, because I'm sorry, but his acting just feels wooden in the TV series, especially in season 1. Christina Elise was great as Kyle. Unfortunately, I think that I think that her acting was also better in the second film than in the TV show. Karen Barkley and like Detective North, like Chris Sarandon, and crap, I can't remember the actress who played Karen. They did great as like not believing Andy at first, because like, you know, he's a kid. Why would they believe him? Geez, honestly, it's kind of hard to review two movies at once. The story itself is great. Like, you know, just like Charles Lee Ray. Charles Lee Ray puts his soul into the doll of and puts his soul into a doll right as he gets killed. And then he commits more mayhem in Chicago, and he soon finds out that he has to transfer his soul into Andy Barclay's body. Then the second film, like, he tries it again, but, like, it's too late for him, and, like, we actually get to see what happens when Chucky becomes fully human. I will talk a little bit more on that in a minute. There are a few effects that are dated, like, especially in the first film, where you can tell that it's a person in a suit, like that scene where he's crawling up the stairs. But like, I mean, it was an '80s film. What are you gonna do? Well, speaking of that, though, like, I know I've said this plenty of times before, especially in the Halloween films, but that whole thing of like being it through Chucky's point of view, it doesn't really work for me. I mean, like, it works as a part of like a mystery thing of like, is it the doll or is it Andy? But like, the moment Andy says like Chucky did it and his real name is Charles Lee Ray, given the context that we've already seen Charles Lee Ray die, like, you instantly know that like Chucky's alive, he's the one killing people, right? I mean, there's almost no way that Andy Barclay would like know who Charles Lee Ray is, and like, even if he did, he wouldn't really understand who that is, right? And that kind of bounces off into the other thing that like I didn't really work for me, I guess, like, and that's the fact that like we see Brad Dourif as Charles Lee Ray get killed in the opening minutes of the first film, which I think that kind of takes away the mystery of like what and who Chucky really is. Like, if we just opened up to like Andy on his birthday, right? And he gets the good guy doll, and like we get bits and pieces about what happened. Like, we hear Charles Lee Ray, we hear his name being thrown around on the news, and then like maybe Andy actually does hear it, and he says like, "Oh, my doll is possessed by Charles Lee Ray," and like that would like raise some red flags, right? Where people would actually wonder like, is the kid actually like psycho and stuff like that. But the fact that we see Charles Lee Ray get killed and he puts his soul into a doll like within the first 5 minutes, I think that kind of takes away like the whole mystery of like, is Chucky alive in the first film. But really, those were the only things that I didn't really care for in the first film. The second film, I honestly liked it way better. I mean, personally, like Child's Play 3 is always going to be my favorite, but like it's kind of weird because like my tier list would be like, out of the first 3 films, I like Child's Play 3 the most, then Child's Play 2, and then the very first Child's Play. And that's mostly because like Child's Play 2 and 3, like they really hyped up the whole slasher thing, because 1 felt a little bit like a mystery thing, at least with the doll being alive. Now, Child's Play 2, there's really only one thing that I remember that I didn't really, that like kind of took me out of it for a second, and that's like when Chucky, Charles Lee Ray, like fully becomes human in like the Good Guy Doll Factory, which by the way, that was a great set for a final fight. That like that was just awesome how they made that set. But the problem with that is like, so while it is cool that like we actually see Chucky become human, and like now he's out for blood and he like really wants to kill Andy and Kyle, like we see him go through so much punishment where you just have to wonder like, a normal human probably wouldn't go through all that. Like, I mean, I was going to say that like Chucky is basically like at that point like basically John Wick in doll form, but it's not even that, because like, I mean, Chucky rips off his own hand, which is kind of believable, sticks a knife to it. He like gets stapled to this conveyor belt, and then like basically having like all of these doll parts like mashed into him, right? And he ends up having to like tear off his own legs, and that loses like copious amounts of blood. Then he gets like sprayed with like molten wax, pretty much, and finally his head gets blown up. And I just feel like if that happened to a normal human, and I get it that like Chucky is like supernaturally possessed, but they did establish that like after a certain amount of time, like Chucky's body becomes like fully human, so he should like, by the time he loses his legs, he should probably pass out from the blood loss. But that's just my thought. Other than that, like both films were fantastic. Like the scores for both were awesome. Like especially the ending music for the credits of the very first movie, where it kind of sounds like sort of like playful and childlike. I really hope that if the filmmakers ever create like one final film to wrap up the series, I really hope they bring back that music just to wrap everything up. Like maybe as an epilogue, or like the end credits sequence. That would be awesome. And like the music for Child's Play 2, that was also great, where like it feels like someone's playing with toys. And like obviously it was a hit because like they used it for the opening title card for the Chucky TV series, and it's basically become like Chucky's main theme, aside from like the main soundtracks of Curse and Cult. But other than that, that's really all I have to say for Child's Play 1 and Child's Play 2. Given that it's still like November 9th, I'd recommend definitely go see it. I mean, I'd rather watch this over the election results. Anyway, that's it for me tonight, guys. Speaking of that new Chucky episode, I will eventually get around to watching it probably tomorrow. Because I found out that for some reason Sci-Fi won't allow me to watch it, even though it says that I have like 3 free credits. So instead, I gotta watch it on USA, and I only got 1 credit left. So now I gotta find a way to watch that. So, but that's it for me. I'm checking out. You guys have a good one. Oh, and remember, a true classic never goes out of style.